Ay, ay, ay. Just kidding. If you or anyone you love and care about experiences knee pain, this video is for you. Be sure to save this and to send this to someone that you care about who's experiencing knee pain. In this video, I'm going to be showing you simple exercises that will help most of you increase the comfort of your knees and improve the quality of your life. I turned 41 in 2 weeks and I live an extremely active lifestyle. I currently do high-impact sports and plyometrics on a daily basis. But this wasn't always the case. I remember when I was 35 and I struggled to play sport twice a week because my knees were hurting so bad. The good news is that most people have no condition to your knees and it's just a matter of bad stretching. Stretching is stretch. Well, maybe you don't stretch long enough. Most people actually need to hold a stretch for 90 seconds to 2 minutes to achieve a decent result. Those muscles that are tightly knotted up need that long to get unknotted. You know, supercars? I'm talking about your Bugattis, your Koenigseggs, even a high-spec Mercedes like AMG GT. The higher performance the car, the longer a time to reach optimal performance without damage to the internal components. You are a high-performance machine. You could be wondering, hey, I'm overweight. How does that make me a high-performance machine? When you are overweight, it also means that you are bearing more weight. So while you might not be in your best shape, your legs are actually taking more weight than they should. If you're overweight, you're lifting an additional amount of weight every day, making you higher performance than the average person. And that makes you like a high capacity car that needs a longer warm-up. If you haven't already done so, you can join me doing the same stretches as I do while I explain this to you. Most people, when they experience knee pain, they think I need to see a doctor, I need to get some medicine, or I need the latest muscle relief patch. But did you know that if you have like some injury, the doctor's probably going to enroll you for physiotherapy? And physiotherapy is really just doing some exercises a few times a week. Because you're forced to do these exercises, you therefore improve your condition. What if I told you today that there are exercises that you can do on a daily basis and improve the quality of your life to a very great extent? When you have knee pain, you lack mobility. And these exercises will restore mobility to you. It's just like the analogy that I said about sports cars. They require a longer time. During that time that it takes to warm up, it's circulating the engine oil throughout the engine so that all the moving parts can get proper lubrication. So if your joints are not in the optimal mobility, of course you're going to experience knee pain. Join me as I now introduce you some of my favorite exercises for restoring, for improving mobility and reducing knee pain. The first one is the quadricep stretch. Use 2 hands and pull it back. Look at my hand positioning. If you need a support, you're also able to use a hand to place it on a chair or something. Over the process of time, you're going to find that your balance will improve. If your balance improves, this improved coordination is going to benefit you in many other areas as well. After you're done with one side, stretch the other side. One thing I want to point out, it's very important when you're doing the quadricep stretch that you want to point your knee right to the ground. So point it down to the ground. So don't do it like this. This is useless. You should be feeling stretch in the higher part of your legs and also in the lower part as well. If your quads are really tight, there's something else that I recommend that you do. Now you're down on the ground, or you can use an exercise mat if it makes it more comfortable, or carpet. Pull one leg to the back. You may have heard a click sound. That's called crepitus, and that's air pockets inside of the joint that's being released. The same as when you click a knuckle. It's not that your joint is bad, it's just a pocket of air. That's all. This is what it looks like on the side. Once again, 90 seconds to 2 minutes is a good time, especially if you are stretching for the first time and you haven't already done stretching on a regular basis. But if you're in a regular habit of stretching, you don't need that long to stretch. So after you've done one side, do the other one. For a deeper stretch, you can also try to put your elbows down to the ground like so. If you cycle or you go up and down stairs a lot, that's going to really help this muscle out here on the side. It's also going to stretch the muscle on the shin. So for those of you who do this often enough, especially the younger ones, or even the older ones, you know what? I gained 1 inch of height at the age of 40 just by doing high impact sport, proper nutrition, and stretching. Because there are certain parts of the body that can still grow throughout your life. Next, we're going to do a hamstring stretch. Hamstrings are these ones over here. One of my favorite stretches is this. So I put my hands straight out, I bend from my waist, and I try to bring the base of my palm to my big toe. Come back up I alternate with the other side. I do this a couple of times. This is one of those that's more dynamic stretching because I typically hold it for 5 seconds at a time. When you are going out for your morning walk, or even if your morning walk means walking to the train station or the bus station to catch transport to the work, your first steps out of the house, you can be doing this. This 5 seconds, 5 seconds, 5 seconds, 5 seconds, 5 seconds, 5 seconds, like 3 to 4 times per side.
And this, 5 seconds, 5 seconds.
Next one is gonna stretch your butt muscles all the way back on the inside as well. Knee hugs. This is a dynamic stretch. I do it 5 seconds per side, like so. 5 seconds. In the beginning, you may not be able to lift your knee very high. When I started out, I could only do it like this. The more I do it, I'm able to bring it closer and closer to my chest. I still cannot touch my chest, but this apparently also relaxes the lower spine. So if you have lower back pain, sciatica nerve pain, this will help. You notice I just brought some slippers out. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to do like the deep squat. It takes some time to get into a deep squat, so not all of you will be able to do it right away. Some of you will need to use something like a wedge on the ground. I'll be putting my heels on the slippers so that my heels are elevated. This allows me to get into a low position because some of you may not have the flexibility to put your heels to the ground right away. As I've been doing this for some months now, I can easily do this and it's comfortable. When I first started out, I could only get to here. When I first started out, I even had to hold on to something to come down. Please do if it feels natural for you. As you come down, you want to make sure that you do all the other stretches first before doing this one. If you are more overweight than you should be, as I was back then, I was like 20 kilos heavier. This wasn't something that I could do right away, but the key is this. If you are warmed up from all the other stretches that I showed you up to now, you should be relaxed enough in your quadriceps so that you can come down to a comfortable level. And that's all you can do, so be it. Make sure that you have adequate things beneath you. Maybe you may even want to use like some phone books beneath your heels so they can come down comfortably. Let's assume that now you're able to come down comfortably. The next progression is to put your heels further apart. This puts more strain on the insides here. If any of you have some incontinence or irritable bowel syndrome, usually it's also due to poor muscle control or because tension from the legs can affect the muscles required for pissing and pooping. I know it gets really unpleasant, but with this stretch, your quality of your life is going to improve. In the beginning, you may want to start out like shoulder width apart. As you improve, you can widen your leg position and it's going to increase the stretch on the insides. Use your arms to push out to increase the stretch as well. After that, this is a progression I like to do. Tuck my hands beneath my toes and come up. As I feel comfortable, I will push my knees back. In the beginning, you may do them with a bend. I want to tell you something about the discomfort that you get during stretching. You're gonna find yourself, this is so tiring, this is so painful. Yes, in the beginning it is, right? That's because you are trying to do some traction on your muscles and restore a regular range of movement. This kind of breathing, if you watch my other videos about face ice bath, you find yourself breathing in the same way. This actually tells you that, stretching, it forces your body to do a certain kind of relaxed breathing to be able to cope with the discomfort that you're experiencing, and overall it's going to increase the quality of your life. But I do this in cycles. I come down like this, I push out, I put my hands beneath, and I come up, go down, I push out, hands beneath, and I come up. Over time, I have no problem touching my hands to the ground. If you don't have much time, it's still better than nothing to do all those dynamic movements that I showed you earlier. All the exercises that I've shown you are good to do in the morning when you're heading out to work. But at the end of the day, when you have more time, this is something that I do before I sleep. Because I find that when I do these things before my sleep, my body has less tension, I get a better sleep. It's at the end of the day and I'm just getting ready for bed. I touch the base of my feet together to try to bring this to the ground. And the next thing that I do is I touch my hands out front, I put them on the ground, and I walk my hands out a bit further. However far you can touch is okay. Hold it to the ground, so there's not like slipping back or anything, right? So hold it there and touch it to the ground. When I first started out, I was like just doing this and my legs were like this. Between then and now, I find that this new flexibility allows me to use a racing bike very comfortably, because racing bike, you gotta get into a fairly low position. So now it's a lot more comfortable for me to do so. This movement here is called the world's greatest stretch. It stretches top of the quadricep and it also stretches the ligament that's going here into the groin. This is the same ligament being stretched when you do this one here, this ligament. It stretches two at the same time. I release one arm, I push this forward to get a deeper stretch. You can also put both arms on the ground to get a deeper stretch too. Once in this position, I will take my arm from the bent side, thread it under to the other side. And I might hear one or two clicks in my back. It releases my back. And I bring this up. And under again. And up. As I go up and open up my range, it also increases the stretch on the inside of my inner quad. I repeat the same for the other side. Again, I push this out. With my arm, I tread underneath as far as I can. It's okay to bend the elbow. Bring it up. Right underneath and up. If you do a lot of stairs in the regular course of your day, this is going to help a lot. Make sure your table is sturdy. You can see that I'm kind of lowering my back leg like so. Most of the time, I like to do this on the staircase. You can also use your hands to support and then try to bounce. Repeat the same for the other side. Initially, it's going to be so uncomfortable that you find that you have to lean forward. Do deep breathing once you can stable back up, straighten up your back, and be able to bounce. At an advanced level, you can even do this hands-free. The final thing to do is a calf stretch. This is when I push your foot to the ground and the other side. When a car is under power, it makes more engine noise when it's trying to labor itself up a slope. Likewise, if we are having some strain going up the stairs or walking up a slope, we can also use the same principle to improve the way we do it. We can do that by increasing strength. I highly encourage you do wall sits. Wall sits is basically just having your back against the wall, and in the beginning you can count like 10 seconds. 10 seconds, break for a minute. As time goes by, we do 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, 50 seconds, a minute. By that time, well, your legs are going to be strong. I'm going to show you one last stretch that you can do. If you have lower back pain, this is called the cobra stretch. Push-up position. I go down, lower my pelvis to the ground, and point my feet out. I try to look up as high as I can. Basically try to touch your dong to the ground. If your dong is not touching the ground, hold a position so that your lower back can relax until you can. It takes a bit of time. And once you're done with that, push back to what in yoga they call downward dog. Try to touch your heels to the ground, but even for me it's difficult. And do this. Again. This. 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 And we're done. Thank you so much for watching. Do leave a comment down below if it helped you out. I'd love to hear how you are going about your life with less knee pain, more activities, and increasing the quality of your life in general. Most of my channel is motivation and manifestation content, but if you're also interested in some of these workout related stuff, comment below so I can do more of them. And I've got many shorts as well where I show some of my plyometric routines. For another video, watch this one over here.